Good evening. It's Wednesday the 1st of October 2025 and this is a meeting of the Bexhill-on-Sea Town Council Amenities Committee. I am Councillor Brian Drayson, Chairman of the committee. Welcome to anyone who is watching the recording. I will just say there are no members of the public present tonight, which means agenda item 1 won't occur, which is public participation. So moving on to agenda item 2, apologies for absence.
I've not received any.
Thank you. Agenda item 3, to receive any declarations of pecuniary and non-pecuniary interests. I'll start. Member of Rother District Council, Councillor Byrne.
Also non-pecuniary member of Rother District Council. Oh, and trustee of the men's shed, which I think might be slightly relevant.
Yeah. Okay, thank you. Agenda item. Oh, sorry, Councillor.
I would like to declare a non-pecuniary interest under item 6B, which will become clear when we get to 6B. I'll explain it then.
Ah, good. Because I had that query how that ended up on the agenda anyway. So, thank you. Agenda item 4, Chairman's announcement. I have no announcements. Which brings us on to agenda item 5, which is minutes of the last meeting held on Wednesday the 2nd of July. They have been circulated. Can I sign them as a correct record, please?
You can.
Okay, yes.
I think you need a, sorry, point of order, I think you need a proposer and a seconder.
Yeah.
Proposed.
Seconded.
I was taking them as proposed and seconded.
Right.
Thank you. A vote on it then, we accept them. Thank you. Thank you. Right, on to agenda item 6, the budget predictions 26-27. We start with A, which is Appendix B, which is the 2025-26 budget report. Are you going to introduce this, or we just...
Okay.
It is what it is.
Yeah, kind of. I mean, this is something that the council is asked to consider every year. So the budget predictions that you'll see in this report are based solely off of our current spending. So what we're looking for tonight is for you to consider any other projects you might want to. Sorry, am I looking at
So yeah, that's the second one. So
sorry, guys.
it's the budget report.
Yes,
that
sorry.
The next one is based on.
I got really excited then.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, oh my gosh, so I've got so many printed copies of the same one. Oh, right, yeah, so this report here is literally just a copy of all of our current expenditure for the year. And we just like to provide this to you as a bit of insight into what you've been spending money on this year. Because I think it gives you a better understanding when it comes to making decisions on your upcoming budget for the financial year. So this is just for reviewing as of right now.
Thank you. I noticed to receive it. Has any councillors got any questions or want to highlight anything? Councillor Ross.
Thank you. The on Town Ranger's motor vehicle, year to date is nearly £6,000. We've only just bought the thing, haven't we? Or hired it, or whatever we do.
Yeah, I can look into that and get back to you in minutes if that's all
Are we maybe writing it off over 5 years or?
Or isn't it on contract hire or something? A monthly payment. Maybe just the way it's year to date. What's that?
Yep, it does.
The other thing I wanted to ask, Number of the toilets year to date. Sorry, I'm reading the wrong column. Actual current month is 0. Is that because at the time it was done in this month, nothing had been paid out? Or what? I mean, I know a lot of them we haven't taken yet, but Channel View East we are doing, aren't we?
Yeah, so
And
that
there's a 0 there.
yeah, if it's for the month, that will be because the payment's not gone out.
Okay.
So on the motor vehicle, did you know that?
Yeah, I'll clarify that in a minute.
Okay, thank you.
Councillor
Oh, the other one.
Councillor,
Oh,
oh, sorry.
Sorry, the 4690, the grip beating. I presume that's a Singleton one.
We've currently got 2 grit bins ongoing. One's been
Okay.
ongoing for quite a while. I can't quite remember where that's for. So that will either be the one that we've just ordered or the ongoing one.
Okay. I know it was only Singleton that was referred to, but in the last minutes it was being investigated. Whatever the investigation
I
is.
think there was one before that.
Yeah, so there was one before that, and then the most recent one is we had to investigate to see if East Sussex would let us order and place the grip bin, and they've allowed us to do that, and that's within budget, so it's been ordered now.
Okay. Who's filling it out of interest?
I believe they are.
Yeah, okay. That sounds good.
Councillor Wilson.
I've just got one question and one observation, if I may. The public toilets, where the 96,807 in variance annual total, that's adverse, does that swallow up all of the 150,000 that we charged taxpayers 2 years ago in case we took the toilets? Is that where we're using the income from to pay for the toilets currently? Because obviously when we decided to pay for the cleaning from 1st of April, we didn't have any in the budget for it. So I've assumed we're taking that money from the money that was in earmark reserves that was charged 2 years ago to taxpayers, I think.
I can clarify that in a minute.
Okay. The other thing is really positive. This was mentioned at Saturday's event at the Delaware Pavilion about allotments, and we have more rent than what the annual budget is for rent. So we must be letting out more than what we thought we would do. Positive.
It's a shame it costs us so much.
Yes,
For
we're
residents' health and
forecasting a
well-being,
£5
it's
water
just
bill.
worth it.
Right, those 2 points the clerk will clarify in minutes. Thank you. And now your big moment
Yeah, sorry, I got
for
really
being the
excited.
budget predictions.
Look into the crystal ball.
As I was saying when I was very excited, so what we've got here is a table of your predicted budget for 2026 to 2027. So the predicted costs are just based off of the current costs of the year to date, the cost of inflation, the size of the project potentially increasing. There are a couple of things in here that you need to consider whether or not you actually want to include them in the budget. The most notable one being the Doomsday project. So this is an opportunity to review this predicted budget based off costs, add in any other budget lines that you may want us to look into, possibly for any other future projects that you think the committee might consider, anything you might want to take out as well. And then what I'm looking for tonight is for you to recommend this to be reviewed at the Finance and Audit Committee.
Councillor Blunt.
Given the fluidity that is currently running within local government at the moment, and particularly sort of services and assets that we could be asked to take on, have we built in a contingency to take on such assets and services, or are we asking the district council to hold that off until the next financial year?
So I can't answer that, but what I will say is our budget and our contingency is being considered as part of the full council budget. So your questions will be answered at full council when we review the bigger budget, if that's okay.
Okay, I think for this particular committee we've got to bear that in mind, because we will possibly have quite a lot to deal with if...
But we might possibly not,
Yeah,
which is why we might have to rely on the big budget
Yeah,
to
yeah,
save us in the short term,
yeah.
and then for it to become a budget item.
So
I thought sorry.
Chair, yeah, we're just bringing us back. We are as a committee receiving the budget predictions report.
Yes.
So, and it will be commented on in detail at full council, presumably. We're receiving the report as is.
This is the report for
We're
our
not to
committee.
comment on it.
Yeah.
This is
No,
our
I-
committee's budget.
It's the budget. It's the committee's budget. So I would say, and I'll come to the clerk, that it's to review, to receive it, and to review it, so that
Yeah.
it goes
Okay.
from us
Okay.
to finance. But yeah, that's you're right. It says to
It
receive.
should
It's
say
to
receive,
receive
review,
and
then.
review.
Yeah.
And I thought we'd go down each line, but
Okay, I was only, yeah, we could go down
Yeah.
each line.
just
Start with the first line.
yeah.
Increase due to RPI. Is RPI 23%? That's what I made the increase.
I would have to clarify that.
I think that's probably based on the predicted year end, isn't it? It's an increase on.
Well, year to date and predicted year end is the same. So
Yeah.
I assume we've paid for, because it's done earlier in the year, isn't it? The extra cuts.
Yeah, but our budget for it was only 26, wasn't it?
Yeah, our budget was 26, which I guess is based on what we were quoted or whatever at the beginning of the year. And then it says increase due to RPI, okay, but 31 to go to 31,965 is a 23% increase.
So
Brothers RPI.
and this is probably going to have to go through Michelle. I took that to be an increase over what we have spent as opposed to what was budgeted. So that's more like the increase from 31,965 to 34.
Yeah.
That's been increased because of RPI.
Yeah.
Because we know what it actually cost us last year.
That's how I interpreted it.
That's how I interpret it, but I think that might be a question
Okay.
for
That would be a question for the RFA.
the 95 to
Noted.
no. My
Sorry, can I just ask,
I thought
why
we'd
is the
go down this.
RFO not here?
She's on annual leave.
Oh, I see, right.
Councillor Wilson.
On the same subject, and it's my non-pecuniary interest,
Yes.
I'm not convinced that everybody in the town council is aware of what the additional verge cutting means.
Funny you should say.
So I have in front of me what we've agreed to,
Yeah.
and East Sussex County Council write to all parish and town councils and give us 3 options. Option 1 is the standard 2 cuts over the course of the year to be carried out by East Sussex County Council at no cost. And the urban grass is then not cut. Hence my non-pecuniary interest, because I live in an urban part of Bexhill, and I'm standing my ground for this because I think it is unfair. Option 2.
Sorry, Chair.
Can I carry
Is
on,
it-
please?
Oh, no, I just want to say, you're quoting something, but did it say the urban cut is not cut on that quote?
If you let me carry on,
Right.
it comes on to it. Option 2 is extra cuts. It says parish and town councils may fund an additional 4 cuts to be carried out by Sussex County Council, totalling 6 cuts, 2 standard and 4 extra. Over the course of the year, the extra 4 cuts would be funded by the parish and town council, which is what this town council opted for.
Yeah.
If you're in the urban area, they are not able to carry out that activity for an urban area. Option 3 is self-delivery. Parish and town councils take on responsibility to deliver all urban grass cutting in their area. This must include a minimum of 2 cuts, so we can do it ourselves and they will pay us some money, which when the last investigation 2 years ago, they offered to pay then somewhere around £9,000 towards a contribution, and we would do all of it. If you come into Bexhill from Hurstman Zoo, you go past Lunsford Cross and you get the Welcome to Bexhill sign, the new one on the left-hand side. The grass in front of that gets 1 cut. And that is what people coming into Bexhill-on-Sea, 1 cut. You then go round past the garage, big open space there that gets just 1 metre of it cut per year. Down to the roundabout, which doesn't get cut because that hasn't been taken over from Sea Change following the extended road down to the new link. If you go straight on into Sidley, there's a great big bank on the left-hand side, round the bend that goes down to St Mary's Cottages. You get 1 metre of that cut per year, the first metre from the curb. All the rest, which now has brambles some 6 or 7 foot high. That is what residents see when they come into Bexhill. That's what I see every time I turn left out of my driveway. And we are paying, we have paid or will pay £32,000 for extra cuts to make some verges in Bexhill look better than what they might do, and we leave the entrance to Bexhill looking like it's an overgrown wasteland. And I think that is unfair on people who choose not to live in the town, when we are all taxpayers, we're all paying the same amount of tax, some pay more or less, but it's proportionate, and I think that's unfair. And I didn't realise when the first administration agreed to pay for extra cuts, I had assumed that it will be for all grass verges. No, it's treated differently, and that is wrong. I've also looked at the review that was done by 3 people. I think it was Councillor Earl, Councillor Winter and the then Councillor Brailsford of the 5-year plan. And within that, one of the recommendations was that our then clerk, which is now 2 years ago, would investigate the costs of us taking on the grass cutting and doing it ourselves, and I don't believe that's ever happened. And I think we should look to take on responsibility. If you go down the link from our website that goes straight into the live East Sussex County Council, for the 6 cuts that are due in Bexhill, the 6th cut for the within Bexhill was planned on the 15th of September. So all the grass verges now aren't going to be cut until next year. And I don't believe that all of those cuts are done, because if you look at the dates, 3 have the word completed and 3 still have dates in there, and they're in advance of today's date. So I think we've committed to spend money on this, but we are not receiving value for money out of this contract. We're not managing the contract to make sure the cuts are done, and I cannot agree to £34,000 for something we're not getting value for money for. People have moaned about us spending money on other things. This is one of our largest expenditure, out of choice, to make the town look better, but we are not getting value for money out of that contract. And that's why I did a non-pecuniary, because fundamentally it drives through my driveway, so it has a personal impact on me.
No, well, I have one of those things echo my own thoughts, is I don't know if they are being done. We haven't got anyone checking to see that the extra cuts have actually been done.
No.
Was it known that only 1 metre gets cut, not the verge?
I'm convinced they're not, because if it says the last cut was the 15th of September, it doesn't take into account rain and sunshine, and I'm still mowing my lawn now, so it's still going to be growing, and there's no flexibility, and I don't believe that the 15th of September was done.
When do you know when that contract starts? Because I'm feeling a suggestion coming here that we look at doing something before the contract, but if we signed it last week, it's not a rush.
We have an opportunity, Chair, to change the way we've done things, because we do have town rangers who can do some spot checks. We do have an operations manager now, so we can put in some processes to change it, but I still do not understand why, if you're living in a rural part of the borough of Bexhill, you are treated differently if you live in a town, when you're paying the same. Just because East Sussex County Council have a different process, we should backfill ourselves somehow and pay someone so it's equitable for everyone within Bexhill. And I'm speaking up there for people who do live in my area and other areas. It's not just where I live that is.
No, I regularly get complaints about a couple of triangles in urban Bexhill that don't seem to get cut.
Yeah.
Councillor?
I think Councillor Wilson's spot on with what he said there. The information regarding the background of the contract we signed hasn't been apparent, and as we pointed out probably a year or 2 ago, as you said, it started to become apparent then, and we were querying it and saying, well, what's happened here? But as for the meter, why a meter? Why let the rest grow wild.
That's the width of the lawn, Mark.
Yeah,
actually.
I think the full
That's
details of
safety,
that
isn't it?
particular contract, or whether they have a contract, or whether it's just something that's just signed off or not, I don't know. But their spec should be sort of scrutinised, I think.
There is a contract, but we can't. There's not a date
There's
on
no
it.
date on the
We
contract.
know we get paid. We pay it annually, so we have got time. I'm loath to give the clerk another job, but we have got time to investigate that possibility of us taking it on, or I say taking it on, getting our own contractors to do it and deciding where those contractors are going to go and what they're going to do.
It was a decision, Chair, that was made from a review of the 5-year plan 2 years ago, and I don't believe that was done.
So what I suppose the next step potentially would be the committee votes to remove the additional verge cut from the budget line, and ahead of full council we'll investigate the potential costs of us doing it internally, but that won't go back to the committee. It will have to go straight to finance and full council, because we won't have another meeting before then. That's the only thing that needs
I think the other thing is, building into what Councillor Pym said earlier as well, really important, with the changes in local government, if we just use East Sussex, which will be the unitary authority, we'll have even less control over this locally. And if we can get it done for the same price, with the same spec, if not better, to me, it makes absolutely no sense paying East Sussex, which should become a unitary, and we'll have no control over it.
Councillor Byrne, sorry.
Just a question for Councillor Wilson, really. Did you say that if we take it on ourselves, East Sussex will then pay us because we're not taking the required cuts from them?
That
If
is
so,
my
about
understanding.
how much?
That's my understanding. 2
Not
years
a lot.
ago, they will pay for what it will cost them for doing their absolute minimum, which is 2 cuts in the town.
Okay.
And I think it was about 9,000. They would
It's a
offer
bit
to
we
pay
can
us.
set against
Correct.
having a fine.
Correct. So if you
Yeah.
look at that, you've in effect got £45,000 towards a contract. And if you get less than that with a better standard that we can manage locally, so
Right. Councillor Gotts, then Councillor Plym, and then the clerk will update us with the possible wording.
If the okay, it was 2 years ago, I guess, but if they're giving 9,000 back for 2 cuts, how come the other 4 cuts are costing us so much more? I mean, 9,000 for 2 cuts, you'd have thought 18,000, not 30, whatever it is, thousand.
Yeah, I mean, other than asking them that, one can assume it's part
potential
of their...
cost versus profit, I expect. in
Yes,
that.
sorry.
Sorry, really quickly. I found the costings for 2022 to 2023, and the 4 additional urban grass cuts cost us £18,068, just for your information.
But it's gone up.
But it's gone up.
So presumably we'd get more for the 2 cuts than the 9,000 that was
We might,
quoted before. So, Councillor Plym.
You never know, they might even go 1.5 metres. Perhaps that might be their criteria for that.
Way inflation.
Mission creep.
I think we've got to be very mindful, and I allude to my question earlier on, of our capacity at the moment, because, and this is where we've got to be mindful of the budget for this committee. We've got town rangers, but have they, at the moment, got the kit and equipment to do this type of work?
Oh, they wouldn't be doing
And
that.
have
I couldn't see them doing
we don't know yet. And have they got have we got the manpower to do it as well?
You could have a guy that's sort of like a Forth Bridge job, one guy just cutting grass going round and round the whole town.
Well, I foresaw it as the toilets. You would have a contractor that you paid to do it,
Possibly as
No.
well, yeah.
use up, because they could be
Needs,
cutting the grass all. There's an awful lot of grass in Bexhill.
I wouldn't imagine one person would be charged for doing that, but we would employ, but we could either go down the route of employing somebody and keep it in-house, or contract it out. Whichever way is deemed to be the most cost-effective.
Councillor Wilson, then we're here.
Yeah, I would suggest it's probably better to contract it out. You don't have the overheads of national insurance, employment costs and all the rest of it.
And where to store them.
And where you get the equipment, where do we store it? We've then got to have a storage place, etc., etc. But I just think that I'm not sure whether we've even got enough time for this year because precept's got to be decided by December. But I haven't been able to raise this before. I've tried to have a conversation with our previous clerk who, well, it is what it is. But this just is one of the biggest expenses that we have, and we're not getting value for it.
But if it turns out that we haven't got time, at least we've raised it, so it's straight on it next year. So we're ready to go for an alternative. If for some reason this year we can't do it, because possibly again the council would have to probably allow some money in a budget for something. Even if it was an earmarked reserve for grass cutting, no matter who gets the money, as it were.
So plan B would be to stay as we are whilst we inquire whether we can bring it in-house. Is that?
Could I have a plan
C?
B1? And could we use our town rangers to make it equitable, urban and rural? For the next year, if we have plan B.
Then you're dealing with the real kit and equipment, aren't you?
A strimmer, a heavy duty strimmer, which I'm sure will be in the equipment because we probably got one of those, I expect, on the list of equipments that we bought. And it's literally, they do a metre once a year, but in town you get 6 trips a year. I'm just saying, can we, if we can't get it through for next year, can we investigate?
Yeah, that's the kind of thing. I think we're definitely
tidying up for the
investigating,
rural
but the
areas.
suggestion is, do we go with this in the budget and start the investigation as the backfill, or do we take this out of the budget, start investigating, but say to the council, we're going to need some money somewhere for grass cutting, whoever does the grass cutting. So do we leave it in here as a line in our budget,
as a provision for
as a
grass
provision,
cutting?
but start investigating? And now I'm just going to get told by the clerk, don't talk rubbish.
I've got this is sort of the wording I've made up. So I've got, it was resolved for the clerk to investigate the possibility of Bexhill-on-Sea Town Council contracting out the cutting of grass verges with an updated budget and options report being presented to full council. Because that way, if we do the investigating, we can explore all avenues, put it in a report, and we can just update the budget after full council.
I'm going to be pedantic if I may, Chair. Can't through the Chair. Can we have something in there to make it equitable between rural and urban? Otherwise, we can just get exactly the same as what we've had for the last 3 years that we paid out a lot of money for it.
Although, yes, but if it comes to us, it's up to us to make sure it's equitable between...
Yes. But I just think it's important that all councillors are aware of the abnormalities.
But other than
of
that was exactly the wording I was thinking of.
if we have to do this for another year, then I've done my bit of raising this issue.
Absolutely. And we won't let it go.
Yeah.
And we should, in with what we'll be talking about later, the town ranger bit, we should do some auditing ourselves.
Yes.
Either by councillors within their wards, or town rangers out and about, or the operations manager, or whoever goes round and does the notice boards.
Yes, indeed. So could you say that again, and can I have a proposer and a seconder for what
I've
Clark's going
got,
to say?
it was resolved for the clerk to investigate the possibility of Bexhill-on-Sea Town Council contracting out the cutting of grass verges to make verge cuts equitable between rural and urban areas, with an updated budget and options report being presented to full council.
Can I have someone to propose that, please? Councillor Wilson, and seconded Councillor Goss. All those in favour, please show. Unanimous, thank you.
Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Councillor Wilson. That was only online one, wasn't it?
I know, you wait.
Gosh, this is going to be fun.
Future projects.
I was referring to the question I gave some moments ago. Future projects, we just discussed what could be a future project, I suppose. So I would say we need to up that budget considerably.
Well, when I was trying to get my brain around this earlier, because down the bottom we've got future asset fund, and at the top we've got future projects. Now I think future projects are for things that we think of here
Uh-huh.
to be done,
Uh-huh.
whereas the future asset fund very much covers, as you say, what we may be given, what we may be asked
Yeah.
to take on.
Yeah.
I think that's why the difference. I think the projects is just to cover anything we come up with.
So,
And as you can see, I don't think we came up with anything this time round because they've become assets. Councillor Wilson.
We could, of course, have used that for the Marine Gardens joint project we did with, because that could have fallen under an amenity, and we could have used that money from that.
Yeah.
So that sort of thing that crops up that we haven't got anything unless we could. But I do tend to think that we ought to have more than. It's only for sort of small things that the amenities might want to do. You don't get a lot for 5,000, really.
no.
But
Does
are we being
the-
blasé with money? If you're going to put 5, you might as well put 10, or nothing.
Yes, it's not as if we're going to spend it for
No.
the sake of spending it.
No.
We just need to have a value in there such that if we do get something we want to do, we don't have to come back
Yeah.
and
Councillor
collect
What's-
more money.
What does the accessibility group come under and what they're doing? Is that an amenity or is that under something else?
They
Good
have
question.
their own budget. They have their accessibility project.
Oh, I thought it was a working group came under some.
Yeah, it comes under this committee, and they've got a ring-fenced £5,000 for projects for approval by this committee.
So
Right.
that's basically what that is.
No, I
Like
think
the
it's
future
additional.
projects. Well, there's in here, there's not something for accessibility.
Yeah.
projects.
So was that the 5,000 they've been given
I don't
in
believe
future
so.
projects?
Let me make a
Oh.
note of that.
Or did the full council
Ooh.
find it some money?
I think that came from full council as it wasn't in the budget, but I can't remember off the top of my head.
It did come from full council because
Came
I
from
raised it
full
when I was
council.
on that working group.
So should
It should be in
that
here.
working group budget be added to this committee's
Yes, it
budget?
should.
Yeah.
I will
Should
make
be
a
in
note of that, thank you.
I suspect at the moment, Chair, it's probably not. It's probably under full council because I think it was part of planning and planning disbanded and it went to full council, but now it's in here.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do believe it falls into the remit of this committee, so I will add that in.
We'll be adding amenities to our town, so it makes sense.
So just a straw poll, and I can't vote on everything. Are we leaving future projects as 5? There was some suggestion we do it to 10.
I'll
I
bite
have
the bullet.
no objection to
I
10.
propose we increase the future budget project to 10,000.
Anyone
I'll
agree with
second,
that?
I'll second
You
that.
second that? All those in favour?
You
Yeah.
either do 10 or 0, don't you?
Yeah.
You can't do any of it.
Just
right?
let the clerk catch up.
Yeah, thank you.
Future projects,
10,000.
10,000 instead of 5.
Sorry, I'm just...
Yeah.
Carry on.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Doomsday project. Now, at the last meeting, we rejected the new suggested contract, draft contract, and another suggestion from the Doomsday project. The contract is for 3 years. It's up at the end of this civic year. So that 10,000 in there is really for us to decide, do we still want to continue the Doomsday project into year 4 at the continuing cost of 10,000, notwithstanding the fact that we rejected the increase last time. Councillor
What?
Goss.
Sorry, what is the current annual budget is 10 grand,
Yeah.
but predicted year end is 15,775. Where does the extra 6 grand come
Let
in?
me make a note.
I've got a feeling, well done, I've got a feeling the 1 is a typo. Because if you add the 4125,
Yes.
On what?
Yeah.
And that's year to date. The budget is 10 grand. Year to date, about 6 months in, 4125. Well, okay, double that for the rest of the year is 10 grand.
yeah.
but then it's got predicted year end.
Yeah.
A lot more.
Yeah, the
Well,
one
I
is,
think-
the one must be a typo, surely.
I'm hoping it's a typo, but that is a question for the RFO.
I can see what Councillor Goss is saying, because the predicted year end should be
Yeah.
10.
Yeah, not above, because we haven't said yes to any other spending.
And then for next year, we've got 10 in. Well, it was either 0 as was voted the other day, or whatever it was, it added up with his big increases.
What we said no to last time was a draft contact and proposal, and I think we also resolved, oh no, that was not to let Mr Dennis speak
Yes.
at Crowhurst Parish Council. So it's do we want to continue with the Doomsday project after the end of the contract? Councillor Plymouth.
I'm very keen for this project to continue. However, I'm mindful that we don't want an open checkbook there. And I think we should continue it, but encourage outside funding to continue the project. So maybe taper the funding down over a period of time.
He does claim he's sort of applying for grants and getting some things, but half of what he's doing sort of isn't in Bexhill anyway. That was the reason I think that it was shot down last time, because he wanted an increase in his payment, and he wasn't spending the time in Bexhill, so he sort of.
Councillor Byrne.
A lot of what the Doomsday Project does, or what Mr Dennis does, also centres around the Coombe Valley Country Park. And I know that Rother is and Hastings are very keen for that country park and the administration of the country park to be strengthened prior to going to the unitary, so it doesn't get swallowed up anywhere. And I think it's very good for us as a town council to have our, to support essentially our almost in-house, well, he's not in-house, but our own environmental consultant, really. And I'd be very happy to have his contract extended. I'm not too sure whether he should have he should have the only say on which areas he looks at, which he's doing at the moment.
That country park, I think, comes under 4 councils, doesn't it? Us, Hastings, Rother and Wilden.
It's mainly between Hastings and Rother, the Coombe Valley Country Park, and Groundworks South, and they're the people who bring down some funding as well. It's a very complex relationship.
I just wonder if there are other technologists also working for others, and it's all being doubled up, or whether he's the only one and we should share it with the others.
I don't think he is. No, he certainly is not, or at least Coombe Valley and Friends of Coombe Valley are not doubling up on anything he's doing, because he's works very closely with them and dovetails with them. I perhaps offline we ought to have a bit more of an audit of exactly what and where, but currently the review that he's sent us of what he's doing seems to make sense. I didn't agree about his automatic rising in his hourly rate or his daily rate, and equally didn't really agree that he should be empowered to speak for this council and to other bodies. So I think basically if we offer him the same again or with an RPI increase, rather than let it just fizzle out next year.
Yes, Wilson.
This worries me, because the precedent has been set by the previous administration on a 3-year contract, £30,000, and it seems to be a trend for lots of things costing £30,000. I didn't see the terms of reference for the Doomsday project, but they've now created their own CIC under Bexhill Wild, which has created some grants which wouldn't have been able to be received without that. And whilst it's really interesting, and I've been to some of David Dennis's presentations about peregrine falcons and bees and lots of natural resource that we have here, how long do you keep going with investigating natural resource in our area to when it stops being a financed scenario that the town council pay for and becomes a voluntary group like Bexhill in Bloom, Bexhill Environmental Group, blah 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 blah? And using my mayoral hat, I go to so many, and I'm sure Councillor Pym did as well when he was mayor, so many volunteering groups, and I'm struggling to see that what Bexhill Wild is, stroke the Doomsday Project, stroke the Nature Club, they're all volunteering groups. And I don't really want to say this because David has done so much great work, but 10 grand a year?
Well, I'll say it. Because what just struck me, what you were sort of saying was perhaps the contract, the formal contract, ends in May, but we replace it with a grant. I'm not sure we can do that. That has to go to full council probably, but we can replace it next year with a grant along the lines of the carnival on a reducing scale, but not having a person contracted to work for us, but grants to Bexhill Wild. I don't know. I'm not.
I like that idea because I think David Dennis will, as soon as one element of his survey finishes, he will focus his interest on another environmental issue that he thinks needs attention, not necessarily within the current remit of the Doomsday Project. So if it's within his CIC, not his but the CIC, Bexhill Wild, then a grant to them, and we would merely review what they intend to do, and if we think it meets our environmental needs as well, then they will go ahead. And it is likely, because we have a similar agenda, that he would be proposing things that we would support. So I like the idea of a grant to the CIC.
I'll just come to you shortly, Councillor Flynn, but I just thought against my own thing there, is that I don't think we can commit the council to doing the grant. I think this committee can say we want to bring an end to the contract and then recommend to the council that they consider a grant to continue the work, but not as a contracted person. Councillor Plym. Oh, sorry.
I just wanted to bring your attention to Bexhill and Bloom projects.
Yeah.
We give, and that's through this committee's budget, we give Bexhill and Bloom £5,000 a year to support their projects. And the Engagement and Communications Committee does the same with 18 Hours After Dark and the Bexhill Carnival.
Right,
so it is possible
The mechanism's there.
for this committee to do that. It would obviously just need approval from full council.
Councillor, my last comment there. Councillor Plym.
I think the idea was to do exactly that, to kickstart something, and to ensure that a CIC was set up, which it did, in order for them to go out and get additional funding and slowly sort of not be so dependent on the Bexhill Town Council funding. I don't think that the forefront of their efforts has been fundraising to the extent it should have been, and therefore I think by looking at like I suggested, a tapering of support would focus the external funding on a greater level.
Just to note, we do have correspondence from him to go through later, which, apart from criticising us, he's asking for the Environment Committee to be reinstated, to take it away from the Amenities Committee, I feel. Or maybe they're more friendly to him, I don't know. But there is, I don't know, it goes through quite a lot that is being done outside of what the CIC and all the rest of it. So it does seem better that we give him a grant. And then he's not working for us directly, he's working for the CIC, whatever will give them a grant.
I think the other thing is his suggestion is that he has another 3 years. You're then tying into a period. If it's a grant, then you've got a better control of reducing or potentially increasing. If he comes up with something that is, he needs an extra bit of support, if he's under a contract, as has been proven by his previous request of changing that contract, you can't. But if he's under a grant, there's more flexibility to move the money around a little bit if he came up with something that really was greatly beneficial for the town. But I think it's a risk to the council if we agree that.
Well, it seems to me the consensus is that the contract is ended and we replace it with some form of grant, which we can from this committee. Then we have to decide how much. And perhaps, so as not to be a shock, it starts at 10,000 this year and stays at 10,000, but then it's a grant, not a contract. Am I right in thinking that's the consensus around the room?
Yeah.
I think you're right, unless by moving to a grant affects any funding opportunities, which I don't think it would do. But I don't, unless there's any detrimental effect on the continuation of this good work. But I don't think there would be.
I wouldn't have thought so, because generally when you're applying for grants, you say what other grants have you applied for, not what. Councillor Byrne.
Yeah, I think if we make a grant to the CIC is in a much better position to pull down grant money. It's a sort of known entity. Also, if the CIC receives extra funding, they may well decide to increase Mr. Dennis's remuneration, but it's nothing to do with us anymore. It's how much do we want to contribute to the work they're doing. How they split it up will be up to the CIC.
Councillor Goss.
Just that, I mean, he's according to this, bought sophisticated ultrasonic devices and equipment and things while we've been paying for it. I don't know if that officially belongs to him or us because he's bought it with our money. But I mean, we should donate that to the CIC.
I would see those assets devolving to the CIC. Whether we charge them for it or not is.
I wouldn't charge them.
I would have thought if we've given him the money, how he spends it.
Yeah, but who does it belong to then as such?
I would think.
I think we're entering into a very unknown world of intellectual property, because everything that he talks about later on in the correspondence that he's done through us and us paying for it. Without us paying for it, it wouldn't have been done.
Yeah.
So the intellectual property side of that, like the Bexhill Nature Club, technically belongs to the town council. And I think it's a conversation piece with David Dennis about the future and mapping it alongside how we're supporting lots of other CICs and lots of other organisations. We want to support you, and I don't propose that we should pay £10,000 as a grant, because that seems a little bit unfair on other organisations that we're giving grants to at between 3 and 5. And if you're going to do 10, you're opening the door to, I want 10 next year and the year after and the year after, in which case you might as well do a contract. There should be a reducing amount, because all of this groundwork that's been done, he's done in that first £10,000 a year over 3 years. So there can't be the same amount of cost, because that's already set up. It's managing and moving things on and then dealing with other things. So there should be a reduction on that 10,000, albeit a small amount, and paint the picture for the evolution and how it will be turned into a volunteering group over the years to come.
Councillor Plim, then Councillor Bell.
Yes, I still feel that the £10,000 should be the case, but you cannot compare with other organisations purely because every organisation's got to be looked at its own merits and has different impacts and different actions that those organisations have, unique to themselves. This one is all-encompassing. It deals with Bexhill, so it's a well worth project. I only hope it does continue, and the CIC can grow from this. Given the standalone status that it will have, it gives it strength in order to sort of go where it wants to go. So, yeah, I'm in favour of the. I will propose a £10,000 grant.
If I ask the clerk to read out a beautifully crafted motion that includes the 10, because then someone can always propose an amendment.
So I would put, it was resolved not to extend the Bexhill Wild Doomsday project contract, but to recommend awarding the Bexhill Wild CIC an annual grant of potentially £10,000 to full council to be taken out of the Amenities Committee budget.
Yes,
I'm not
amazing.
sure
I just
about
read
an
my
annual
mind.
grant.
Yeah.
As a potential amendment, I think 10,000. It should be less than that,
Just
albeit a small
I've
amount.
got a query first on the. Does annual grant suggest 10,000 every year? The way you put annual there. So we have to cover the reducing grant.
Or increasing. I would have said that the CIC should apply for the grant every year,
Or
and in
say
their
this year.
application
Yeah.
it should say what it is they're doing. So this year we give them 10 grand. The next time the relationship then becomes they apply each year with their application like anything else we fund. They would say, here's what we intend to do. Here's the money we're applying for, and we can then either agree or not agree with those objectives and fund them or not as we see fit.
But currently the contract and we said with Bexhill in Bloom, that rests with this committee. If it becomes a council thing that they have to apply every year, they might not get that. But
I think they could apply to us.
If it's in our budget, then
Yeah.
come to
Yeah.
us.
Yeah. So
But it's not a fixed annual amount,
Did you change
and
that?
it would depend on what they're going to do.
My only logic in
annuals come out.
them receiving less income is in any start-up company, which you could look at this as being a start-up company, which it is. It's got a CIC, which is a company. A lot of the groundwork takes a lot of time and a lot of effort and a lot of investment into getting everything just right. All that is done now. The 5 or 6 projects that he mentions extremely well, they're all ongoing. So there isn't the required costs to set it up as what there was in the first 3 years. It might well be that he's got some other ideas that he might want to come forward and say, so if we were to reduce it by a smidgen, subject to any other projects that he might have in the future, that allows expansion.
I'm going to come with Councillor Plym proposing. Read that again because we got rid of the word annual.
Okay.
Yeah.
It was resolved not to extend the Bexhill Wild Doomsday project contract for a further year, but to recommend awarding the Bexhill Wild CIC a grant of £10,000 to full council to be taken out of the Amenities Committee budget.
No,
For this year.
25, 26.
20, so that would be
26.
26, 27, yeah, sorry, 26.
For the
27.
year.
so does anyone want to second that?
Oh,
You
I'll
proposed
second it.
You're seconded it. Now, do you want to propose an amendment?
I would, but as we've got
And
proposals
quantify
and
your
second
smidgen.
So my smidgen, I would suggest that if we were to phase that down by 1,000 or 2,000 per year over the number of years, because I stand by what I say, that when you set a company up, it costs a lot of money. So that most of that 30,000 is spent in the first couple of years probably doing stuff. Now it's all just running costs. So he's not going to have the same expenses as what he had in the first few years. And, you know, people get free tea and coffee on us. So I would suggest reducing it to 8,000.
8,000.
It's a small reduction. It shows to the public that we're not just going, tick,
Okay.
we're just agreeing.
Councillor Byrne, before
I'd just like to point out, because we've taken the word annual out, we're not saying our strategy may be to decrease year on year on year, depending on what they're doing, but we're not committing ourselves to doing either of those things. We're just saying let them carry on this year. I agree with your point about the amount of setup that's already been done, but I personally think that for the plans he's got in future and what he's got in hand, I would support 10 grand this year, and they apply for a grant each year, and we look at it like we would any other application.
Thank you. Is there a seconder for Councillor Wilson's £8,000?
Oh God, let's have a fight.
In that case,
he's bought the expensive equipment.
Yeah.
Because we just discussed that.
So you won't need to spend that money.
so you seconded the reduction to 8,000 or not? Sorry.
Yeah.
You
Yes.
Okay. So that gets voted on first. All those in favour of that, but the final figure being 8,000, please show. 2. Those against.
There's an unholy alliance.
That's lost. So the motion is ending the contract and giving a grant of £10,000 for next year. All those in favour, please show. All those against. All those abstaining. That is carried. Thank you. Perhaps I shouldn't have gone down one line at a time. Bexhill-on-Sea projects, surely nobody.
Yeah.
Any comments on Bexhill-on-Sea projects? The suggestion is no change.
Are they going to ask for more to do the tubs, the planters?
We'll come on to planters because it's something I raised. Because it's well, no, we're doing now. Planters is a bit in no man's land at the moment. We're still the council's still investigating. If the council decide yes, they're going to take them on, I'm sure they'll be coming to this committee, and then we'll have to get someone to do them. So it might be that that becomes the future projects or the future asset fund. I don't think we can build in planters yet because they're not happening yet. Councillor Plim.
Have we agreed to fund Bexhill in Bloom on an annual basis to the tune of £5,000?
Yes, that was before my time, but yeah, I believe it was annual. I'm not sure if it was only for a fixed amount of time. That's something that I would need to clarify, but as far as I'm aware, this is an annual payment.
And sorry, if I can, Chair, just ask another question. Have we required them to request that money on an annual basis?
No.
Okay.
Yeah, no. I think off the top of my head, when it came to last year's budget, I believe it was already in there. I think this has been going on for a few years now. I'm not quite sure how it came about. That's something that I need to look into.
Yes.
So that then begs the question, do they need additional funding?
Yeah.
Because we could be funding a group
You
that...
can't really ask them because the answer's going to be yes.
Well, I think we should ask to see the accounts.
Indeed.
Anyone that's asked.
Well,
Indeed,
and
absolutely.
to tell us what they've done
Correct.
with
Yeah.
the money.
Grants, don't we request that we hear from them as to what they've done with it?
Yeah.
How they've used it. So is it the same with these grants as with the central grants?
I believe so. Again, this isn't something that I've been dealing with, but I believe the case would be that all grant recipients are required to give an update.
Isn't that putting the cart
That's
before the
interesting.
horse? Shouldn't they apply for a grant on the basis that this year we're going to do this, this, this and this? And at the end of the year they say we've done it or we haven't.
I was going to say, normally
Well, that comes
the
back
grant
to the
fills
history
out a
of
form
has
that
this
says
been
what they
put
want
in the
it.
budget ad infinitum, as it were,
Oh.
or is it a grant every year?
I
Councillor
don't believe it's been in all 4 years. I don't think it was in the first 2 years, was it?
I don't think so.
No, I think it's only this year and last year because they were improving, they were going for the gold award and the town council wanted to support them. Rightly so, they do a lot of good work.
Yeah.
I don't necessarily believe it's necessarily money they want people to help. And they can't find people, their average age is increasing unfortunately, there's no youngsters coming in. So maybe they should ask and maybe somebody could give the secretarial setup of Bexhill and Bloom a nudge to
I
ask.
was going to say, should we write to them and say, would you like to apply for a grant? Again.
Yeah.
Or just speak to them and get them to do it. I'm just trying to not create a
So
lot
yeah,
of
no,
work
I'm
for the
trying
clerk.
to, but I'm trying to put it out into our language,
Yep.
which is
Invite,
we're
whatever way.
we're not approving a grant tonight. We're
No.
inviting Bexhill in Bloom to apply for a grant.
Yeah. Yeah.
And presumably to this committee, because it's in this committee's budget.
Yeah.
I think we're setting a precedent with both the Doomsday Project and Bexhill in Bloom that environmental projects needing funding will come to us to
Yes.
ask for a grant.
And it's not automatic.
Absolutely, never automatic. Especially the fact that various responsibilities are going to change with local government reorganisation. We want to fund the stuff we want to fund, but leave it as flexible as possible, so we're not left funding something where a statute comes out and says, actually that should be funded over there, and they say, oh no, you've already got it in your budget. So, flexibility.
Right, so just because the clerk got a different gist, are we saying we are giving them this 5, or we're not giving them this 5, and we are inviting them to apply for 5? We're not giving them this grant that's in our budget, but we're going to write to them and say, would you like to apply for a grant?
Just to correct, it's not in our budget yet, it's future
No,
budget.
that's true. It's
You
in
could
our
add
predicted,
this.
suggested budget. Are we taking it out and inviting them?
I would keep it in there, but still invite them.
Yes.
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 I don't see there's anything
So
that says
we're
we
ready
can't do
for
both. I think we can
Because-
do both.
We resolved to sit on the fence.
So we are continuing with the £5,000 funding for Bexhill and Bloom.
We're leaving,
this
no,
year.
we're leaving
We're
it in the
leaving
budget,
it in the budget,
Leaving it
We're
in the
ring
and
fencing.
subject to a
pending
satisfactory
them applying,
application.
successfully applying for a grant.
Can someone give me some wording, please?
Yeah, it's resolved that the budget, no, that the figure shown in the budget be ring-fenced
Pending a grant application.
pending a successful grant application from Bexhill in Bloom
To the Amenities Committee.
to the Amenities Committee. And of course, the clerk will have to write to them
See,
or phone them and tell them. Go on.
this is the tricky bit.
Yeah.
Because any other grant that has been approved for a different group, like the Carnival, for example, has been approved by full council. So the Carnival Committee for their funding for the next few years, that wasn't a grant application. I believe that was a presentation to full council that was approved by full council. Grant applications go to the Finance and Audit Committee, so it wouldn't be for this committee to approve a grant application. It would most likely be for Bexhill and Bloom to come and present and ask for the funding for a year, and then the Amenities Committee would be responsible for that.
Would we get round this by placing the money into future projects?
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's not being identified for them. It's
No,
their
but-
future projects.
But if it goes to council for a separate decision on grant, the council can't dip in, my understanding, to our future projects. Because the council, full council, would have to do it from the full council's
reserves, yeah.
budget.
Just an observation, and we've done this for the last 2 years, and full council have agreed the precept for the last 2 years, and it's under the same administration. So why don't we just leave it as it is? Are we opening a can of worms to a lot of issues where Bexhill and Bloom are an integral part of the town, and without what they do in Edgerton Park and Manor Barn and other places?
Sorry, Chair.
Yeah,
You're
no,
quite right. There are a number of groups that are the bread and butter and the cement rather that keeps Bexhill together, and this is one of them. And it's I don't think they should take it for granted that we're going to give them money, and I don't think we should take it for granted that we're going to give money either. We still need some sort of scrutiny to any group that's applying that we're funding. I just don't know how we get through that by
one of the
also
things
continuing to fund them.
is, as you were saying, if we carry on this year and give them the 5,000, but we write to them saying we want a breakdown of how they've spent this year's money and how they intend to spend next year's money.
I quite like
It's
that
all
idea.
free cups and tea.
Because, Chair, you can't really just change the goalposts in advance of doing it. You've got to give them warning, haven't you?
Yeah.
That might be the way to
So
do it.
luckily there is an undo button on the computer. And we're back to...
So Bexhill and Bloom is going to stay in this year's budget, but I'm going to write to them and I'm going to ask what they've done with last year or this year's funding and what they intend to do with the upcoming funding if it's approved.
Yes. And have me proposing that.
Seconded.
All those in favour?
Yeah.
Unanimous. Grip bins. Let's leave it.
I still think it's a great name for a band. The Grit Bins.
I'd like to increase it because once the 2 bins are in place and people get to know that we've supplied them, we might get future requests. So I would like to have at least 3,000 in there just to make sure that we've got money put aside for additional grip bins.
How much is a bin? About 400 quid on this.
I believe so. I'll have to have a look.
Remembering that.
I'm just going by the 1,500. That was alluded to 1 bin. So
Yeah.
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 Oh, well, I don't know. That's why in the budget, the expenditure report, I've sort of asked because it's got 1,500. We haven't spent anything yet, but then there was talk of 2 bins possibly. But I thought bins were about 400 quid each.
Who fills the Grit Bins? Is that
The
the
question
that might be the cost, the additional cost. The bin itself might be 400, but
That's
the
what I was
installation.
thinking.
To be honest, we've only ever had 2 requests in 4 years of a town council. And if they're £500 each, it's only half a bin a year. So even if you doubled the quantity, you'd still be able to buy
Councillor
4.
Prim's right. As they get a bit more, as this council gets more of a reputation for actually doing stuff, I think we're going to get residents saying, "Oh, can we have one?" And they might come up with some very good justifications.
The proposal... Sorry.
the proposal was to increase the budget for grip bins to 3,000.
Anyone second that? Councillor Byrne. All those in favour? All those against? Thank you. That is carried.
We are in
Thank you,
real
Chair.
danger of our precept going through the roof this year.
No.
Full council.
Because there'll be some...
It's
I
not
think we're in
permitting us
danger of
to
our
spend
precept
it.
going through the roof with regarding devolution. let
So-
alone
Well,
anything else.
that's should we be
Town-
buying
This will be
grip
peanuts
bins?
compared to what's coming our way.
The next 3 town rangers are all a bit of a finger in the air, really.
Yeah, I mean, in the we've got 15,000 in for this year, 6,000 year to date, and 15,000 in the budget, and then the same for the following year, 9,500. Is that for 2 or 3 vehicles or what?
We've got 2 vehicles now.
We've got 2, so it is the. Lost it.
Presumably,
Is it 15,000
presumably,
budget for that, or is it 9,500 for 2 vehicles? It doesn't quite go
Sorry, I
together.
didn't hear that. Sorry.
We've got 15,000 for in the current annual budget.
Mm.
I don't know what that was for because that says that's for all vehicles, and then we've got 9,500 in the amenities budget.
Mm.
It's a mismatch.
sorry, Chair, but presumably the financial officer has put these, because it's a new budget, has put these figures in there as her belief as to what we would need for 26, 27. And as it's sort of, none of us know the details of this yet, I think we should go on the proper financial officer's request and just agree these 3.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I presume we should do both. And
Could I ask a
She
question,
might be
Chair?
allowing for what's left over. for this
I
year.
agree with Councillor Pym, we've got to take best guess and trust our RFO, but I just beg the question why we have the costs of the running of the town rangers under an amenities budget. We don't have the salaries of the town rangers in here, that goes under salary budget. We don't have facilities that office-based staff, computers, etc. That sticks in the other budgets. I'm not sure why we've got that under the amenities budget. It's got to go somewhere, I get that, but that is on general.
Good point.
If it was somebody who worked in the office, it would be in office sundries. So just because they're outside being a town ranger, why does the requirements that they need to do their job fit under our budget?
Because their job spec is amenities.
Looking after amenities.
I don't see
Take
what
your
it is.
point. Let's just raise that
we
as a
can in
query
effect
with the
increase their
RFO.
workload.
I think it should come out
Raise
there
it
and
as
go
a
in one area.
query with the RFO. Is this the best place for the town rangers budget?
It doesn't really matter where it sits, but I
Yeah.
just find it quite
Is there
bizarre
a
that
better fit?
I'm going to sit here talking
elsewhere?
about £3,000 worth of tools for someone to do their job, but I don't sit and talk about the cost of a computer for someone in an office.
But I think you hit the nail on the head when you said you don't really mind where it fits. So there we go.
Sorry?
I
But
think
it's
you
just
hit
a question,
nail
is
on
that
the
the
head when
best
you said you
place?
don't really mind where it sits.
So do
No,
we
I-
agree? Do we agree the figures?
It doesn't make sense sitting there. I'm afraid.
And we'll just raise the question of, is this the best place
Yeah, I've
for
written
that
down-
budget?
I've written down Councillor Goss's questions.
I'm carrying on town rangers.
Yeah.
We've spent £1,600 so far on uniforms. All right, we've got another 1,000. I guess they might need replacement and whatever. So the year goes through. We've already spent £4,000 on equipment, which sounds quite a reasonable setup. Then we're going to spend another 3,000 next year. How much can you fit in a small van?
It's also in the lockup as well.
I think nowhere to look up. But
This is the wider lawnmower.
Yeah, because if you, as you say, if you look at the budget as opposed to the predicted budget says the actual year to date in August was £1,200 on tools and equipment. But here the actual year to date is 3,990.
there's sort of quite a bit of cross mismatching between the budgets.
Yeah, but I think we, or as Councillor Wilson was saying, the full council, if it goes there, we need a deeper look at the town rangers' finances, what's been spent and what's due to be spent. Just to understand it, not to.
Yeah.
It's not a problem. It's just to understand what's going on. Councillor Byrne.
If this was a department, well, it is a department, usually the department would produce its own budget requirement, which it'd submit to the clerk, and then the internal discussions as to what was needed, what was not needed. Then, by the time it came into here or wherever whichever budget we put it in, it would essentially have been already justified, and there'd be somebody to say, oh, this is based on this, and this, just like any other department. Certainly a council department, they all do their own budgets. That gets questioned by other members of staff and the clerk, who then says, yes, this is reasonable, this isn't, and then you present that to us, and we assume you're doing your job properly and say yes, really.
I'm assuming this is because it's so brand spanking new.
It is.
that
We're only just setting up the
this time
department.
next year, they will have an idea of their wants and their wish lists and things. Councillor Byrne.
I think we should agree to that £3,000 because it is only £1,000 per ranger,
Yeah.
and if it isn't spent, it goes back into general reserves
Exactly.
18 months from
Exactly.
now,
We're not
and
committing ourselves to expenditure, we're just putting it in a line
Yeah, I
on
mean,
the budget.
I'm sure the operations manager's not going to go and waste money on tools just to spend £3,000. He'll buy equipment that's needed to do jobs, and that might evolve as that does
And that's
evolve.
operational, not
Yes.
under individual
If we don't
councils.
put money in there to enable some of these things that are going to crop up in the next 12 months to be done, then we're not doing our job providing the money to do it. So I would like to propose that all three of those related to town rangers be approved and move on.
I'll second that.
That's what I said
Yeah.
10 minutes ago.
Oh, all right.
So you'll be voting in favour then?
Yeah,
All those in favour?
All those in favour?
Definitely. I'll second that, yeah.
Councillor
Right.
Goss? Against? Abstaining?
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, sorry.
Vote, yeah.
Vote in favour. Neighbourhood plan to review. I suppose. Go on then.
Yeah, I was going to say this is going to be reviewed after the report that was given at full council, and
Yes.
it will probably increase considerably.
So I was going to say on the basis of the last comment that it stays in because it's not committing to expenditure. It's there just in case it's needed.
The
Yeah.
£1,000 will be needed plus
Yes.
more.
Plus more.
Yeah, well, wasn't it 10k or something in the
So
full council?
So again, I suppose, why does this come to the Amenities Committee? Because we got rid of the Planning Committee.
Correct. It had to sit somewhere.
Yeah.
I think there's going to be a lot of discussion around neighbourhood plans, who pays for them, what the government are going to sign off or not sign off. It might just be that the relevant sections of the Rother neighbourhood plan devolve to us where they're relevant to Bexhill, and it is then by definition approved.
Councillor,
We have
But let's not second guess that.
We have to prepare for what we know now, and what we know now is that full council agreed all 6 requests of the working group. We have no idea how much it's going to cost. This is just a plucked from air figure, and I think it will be somewhere annually for probably 3 years of 10 to 15, if not 20,000 a year. It's going to cost us to get somebody to help us to pull this together. So I think right now, clearly full council is quite recent. Our clerk hasn't had the time to go out and do it, but I suspect it's going to be absolute minimum 10, if not 20 per year for 3 years.
will we, on that basis, will we have leeway to put that up to 10/15 on December the 3rd, which is our next meeting, or December the 2nd, in time for the budget? Will we know more of that figure by our next meeting?
No, because it
I
has to
think
go to
that's
finance
very
and then full
unlikely.
council.
Councillor Clem?
I'd like to propose that we, to ensure that money is there, and we really don't know until the clerk has done some research on this. I'd like to propose that we put ring fence £20,000 in the budget on the basis that should it come under, then the remaining money will be put into reserves.
I would second the 20,000. It will lead to a debate, I'm sure, but so many people, so many residents are asking where's our neighbourhood plan. It's recognised that the people on the working group haven't got the skills or the time or whatever to do it. We've got to get help to make this happen. Otherwise we'll be here in 5 years' time and we still won't have a neighbourhood plan. Blah, blah, blah.
So it's been proposed to £20,000. It's been seconded. Anyone else want to make a comment before we go to the vote? All those in favour of that, please show. You argued about 1,500 quid for a grid bin.
People at full council shouldn't be surprised at that.
No. Allotments. As is.
Yeah.
It's an overall for water.
I suspect that is the water metered,
Yes.
because it is a lot more than
It's a lot more than we paid.
we've paid.
We've had some plumbing issues,
Ah, right.
Yeah.
so that's why it's more. It is not normally that much, but with the plumbing issues, the meter read has been higher than we would have liked.
So we've had a leak and we've been feeding somewhere for a long time.
A little
Right.
pond, yes.
Uh,
It wasn't, yeah, the leak was only recently discovered, so that's why it's,
But in the year to date, have we not been paying for that?
what, for the,
Well, the year to date of water is 756, and now you look at 4,500. That's an awful lot of water.
yeah.
So that
Yeah.
bill's on its way in, is it? Which is why that's increased to cover it.
Yeah.
Yes.
Just out of curiosity, are allotments covered by hose pipe burns?
I would have thought so.
Yeah, I think they are.
Depends if you're able-bodied or not, maybe.
I think, bear in mind that also going to have full council, I would request a little bit more information about that leak when we get to it, please, because that is an awful lot of water. I mean, not even the money, it's the fact that there was that much good, clean water.
Yeah.
People moan about Southern water.
that is an enormous
That's a lot
amount.
of water.
It cost me 30 quid for the swimming pool.
But are we going to approve those two figures for the allotments, the water and the maintenance?
Small.
Yes.
Yes, as proposed by Councillor Plym, seconded by Councillor Byrne, was it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why
All
not?
those in favour? Okay, thank you. Unanimous. Right. General maintenance. Renamed from repairs and renewals. How
Is that
much?
maintenance of the hub? Or
What? Go on.
Yeah, general maintenance sort of covers all sorts of things. So the previous repairs and renewals, that would pay for things like IT equipment, office equipment when it needed fixing or replacing, or we had someone new come on board. And we felt it was actually quite vague.
Mm.
Repairs and renewals, it's very...
but, I mean, if a computer went down, you need new computers, that will come under office equipment, not under this.
It's
That's
not
why we
regular
wanted
maintenance,
to
is
change
it?
the name of it, because repairs and renewals is so vague that you could essentially pay for almost anything
Councillor
out
Wilson.
of that budget.
I'm pretty sure repairs and renewals relates to things like notice boards that need repairing and then renewed. And there was an amount that was, this is from my very early days of being a councillor, that something was accrued every year, added to it, to enable, over a period of time of say 20
'Cause
years,
we
being
need to
enough
replace
money
it.
for that to be replaced.
Yeah, we felt from an auditing perspective, the term repairs and renewals was a little bit vague and probably wouldn't sit well in audit, rightfully so. So that's why we wanted to rename it to maintenance.
So long as it is
Which
maintenance
is a lot more
of,
consistent with what most parish and town
But it's
councils
important to
do
capture
budget.
what Councillor Wilson just said of there's an element of that is saving up to replace it when we know it's going to run out.
because when we take on potential other assets, we'll have to increase that budget for repairs and renewals as they get older to replace it. That's how normal accounting systems work, that you stash money in preparation. So I understand what the clerk's saying about it being vague, but general maintenance is as vague as you can get because it's general. And I think I knew what that was for, which was basically notice boards when it was brought in.
Because
they
that
were
sounds
spent-
feasible.
There was a lot of money spent on that, and that's what I think that was.
And the other thing with repairs and renewals is, hypothetically speaking, if the council resolved to, which we do quite often, we resolve that we want to do a project or spend an amount of money, but we don't specify which budget we want it to come out of.
Yeah.
So quite often, and this is fairly common in town and parish councils, quite
Yeah.
often,
Yeah.
if the budget line isn't specified, they'll go, oh, repairs and renewals.
Yeah.
And it just doesn't sit well in the audit trail.
So, should we put, after general maintenance, should we put brackets notice boards? Are there any other things that,
What other assets do we
what
have
other
that
assets
require?
of general maintenance? Because I can see the point, but without spelling it out, it could get used on...
Well, we'll find out.
Yeah.
If it's
So
come
that
to
will
this
be
committee,
used.
Yeah.
Then we'll have 3 notice boards that are rotten, and then we'll have to go and buy whole new ones because we haven't prepared for them wearing out.
Yeah, I like the whole
Yeah.
approval
So,
thing, yes.
So again, because the comment was it wouldn't sit with audit or whatever, shall we ask the RFO to please then come up with a title that does what we wanted it to say? Because it used to do what it said on the tin, which was repairs and renewals. What is a better, because it is about repairing, renewing stuff, replacing it when it runs out. Or where do we have that in another budget earmarked for repairing and renewing things?
I mean, by definition, this is in the amenities budget,
Yeah.
not in
I
the
think
office
we
equipment
just-
budget or...
Leave it.
Leave it because we're just talking things for the sake of talking.
Okay.
Yeah,
It's
I think you're
semantics,
right.
And we're still going to go for £5,000. Well.
It's vague, but it's got to be amenities and...
So proposed by Councillor Plim, seconded by me, that it's £10,000 in general maintenance. All those in favour?
10,000.
10,
Oh,
10.
fine.
Did I say? Oh, sorry.
Yes, you just
Sorry.
inflated it by
Very crafty.
100%.
Amendment £5,000.
Yes, you're not
All
getting
those
a
in
new
favour, please.
You're not getting your new
I wanted
laptop.
a new note. Carried, thank you. Slip of the tongue.
Profligates.
Devolutions
Oh, great fun.
as a setup for potential fees, which is really a really
We're being
cover
set
all,
up
isn't
left,
it?
right and centre.
We don't know what it is. There may be something, there may not be something,
It's lower down.
but it's also
future assets.
specifically devolution fees for the amenities committee, isn't it?
Yeah.
I'm not
These
sure
will
why.
be the legal fees associated with devolving assets and services. So these will pay for our solicitors' fees and stuff like that.
Okay.
So you can have these loss-making assets, and you've got to pay to have them as well. Just like love local government.
Or you don't have to have them at all, and you don't have to pay for them.
Yeah, exactly.
But
It's our
we,
choice.
we'll have the money in the budget just in case. So
We're paying for the toilet things that at least used to be looked at
Oh.
by some idiot solicitor.
Please let's not do that again.
I'll propose we leave that in there. The 3-6.
I agree with that.
Second by
Yeah.
Councillor
Yeah.
Pym. All those in favour? 3. All those against? Abstentions? That is carried. CCTV and the next one down.
Later in autumn due to CCTV upgrades.
Yeah.
Can I add that?
Yes.
Don't lose sight of the fact that we did make a motion to install up to 2 more CCTV in Edgerton Park, and that's part of that as well.
So it's Edgerton as well as Polgrove.
It was only Edgerton, I believe.
Right?
It wasn't Polgrove, it was Edgerton.
I was going to say, because I can't think we need it in Polgrove.
It was
There
Edgerton.
was an agreement for 2 for Edgerton Park, and then there was an agreement to review the other ongoing CCTVs to see if they needed renewing.
It was up to 2, subject to the requirements. So
Yeah.
we could get 1 or we could get 2. Hence why we said
So
up to 2.
bearing in mind that review is due later in the autumn, we're being asked to provide the money to make sure it's there
Yeah.
for that review. And again, if it's not needed,
Yeah.
it comes back. So proposing to keep that 30,000 in that
Can I ask,
budget.
through you, Chair, a
Yeah.
question to the clerk? When the motion was put forward by me, it had 3 years to do the review of the CCTV. How confident are we, or is there a view as to when that's likely to be? Because we're probably 9 months through that, so we've got 2.25 years. If we're not going to do the review, we can't commit to putting more CCTV in. So we may not need it next year, but we might the year after, depending upon when our clerk can.
We were due to start having the meetings in September,
Okay.
but due to annual leave and sickness and cancellations, they've just not happened yet.
So it's likely, sorry Chair, likely to be ready to go in the 26-27 financial year.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
So
Leave it. Do
leave it. Proposed by Councillor Wilson, seconded by Councillor Plim. All those in favour? Unanimous, thank you. Chromavision.
It is what it is.
That's part of CCTV.
No change,
Yeah.
yeah. Okay. Do we need to agree that as well?
Yes.
Yes, okay. Proposed by me, seconded by Councillor Plym. Those in favour? Unanimous. Future Asset Fund. Possible to be transferred to devolution. Don't know what that means.
Is this just
Oh,
the transfer
yes.
of assets,
Yeah.
toilets or whatever? Where did 25,000 come from? For what?
I think this has been ongoing for
Yeah,
years now.
Yeah.
yeah.
I think it's always been 25,000.
I think that note's not helpful. I think it's likely to be spent because of devolution. It won't come under the devolution heading. It will come under we've got these assets now.
Extra costs incurred.
Yeah. And it was £25,000 this year with nothing spent. So I think it's a question of leaving it as £25,000. I'll move that. Secondly, thank Councillor Plym.
I think we should have a little bit of a discussion as to what the point of it is. So we're saying we're not going to spend anything this year, so that will go into general reserves to pump that up. We get round to 26, 27, and we're going to spend £25,000 on future assets that we might be getting, that we've already agreed that we are going to be getting. So
We
know
can spend up to 25 if it is needed. We're not saying we're going to spend it.
No, I know Councillor Wilson saying, but this year's is going into general reserves. If we don't spend it next year, that's going into general reserves.
and all we're
just
doing is
feeding
pumping out
reserves.
general reserves.
But then we do know that we've got assets coming. We don't know what they are.
No, I see your point.
We do know they're on the way, but future assets is an asset that you're going to go and buy, and there's no mention of buying assets. So this would be on.
Don't give them ideas.
So, and I'm playing with words. I know that, but it's not a future asset fund. It's a maintenance of future assets or investment in future assets. It's not gaining future assets, money that we're going to spend on future assets.
True. It becomes in one of the other categories. Once
It becomes
we've got an
maintenance.
asset, it becomes
It's a
maintenance.
fund to support
Yes.
future assets.
So why we don't really need a future asset fund of 25,000. We need a maintenance of future assets.
So you would keep it in but with a different title. Because I'm just thinking if in the middle of 26, 27 we got asset B that we weren't expecting, the council would have to find a budget for it.
We'd have to go into general reserves.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then next year it would be built into the budget of the Amenities Committee.
Yes.
I mean, to be honest, depending on what it is, 25k is either an awful lot or it's not going to go anywhere near it.
Yeah, I just think it's not going to go anywhere near it.
I'm just trying to think logically, with all the pluses that we've done above it, and we've had it this year and not done anything. The likelihood is, with reorganisation, that won't be with us until probably 27, 28. We'd balance our budget if we didn't have that in there, and it doesn't tell residents what we're going to do with a future asset fund.
And then the assets that come.
Yeah, we will deal with that when that's
deal
here.
with them.
I
Otherwise
think
it
it
just
gives
sits
this committee the flexibility to actually deal with that when we're presented with it. Otherwise, it'll have to go to full council, won't it?
Which wouldn't be that much of a pain.
I'm just saying why it's probably there. So.
I understand that, but there are financial regs that over a certain amount we'd have to go to full council anyway, through finance. So we can't just spend willy-nilly over certain amounts. I'm just trying to be prudent and trying to think ahead about how long it's going to take to get these assets, and future asset fund.
It will be known well in advance that we actually get us actually getting them, because there's so much legals to go through before you get there.
Yeah. I think if we leave it in there and reduce it down to a few thousand, that will help balance our budget on this year versus next year. And we can deal with it when we've got it. When we know what we're going to do, we can then devise a plan and come to the amenities, say these are the amenities you've got, this is what, and it will be an operational decision over what we need to do, and we'll deal with it then.
So it's
Just my view.
And I know I took the vote before you said, but we talk about 25, 10, or nothing, really, aren't we?
Or a nominal 5 just to put a placeholder in.
Well, that doesn't.
But-
I'm not sure that does anything.
Not really. No, no more than what it does now.
It's been there forever. It's never gone, and I can't remember the exact amount that we've got in our bank account, but that is just increasing pending all these assets coming our way, which is adding to it.
If you wanted to scrub it all together, you could balance the budget more or less by £500 by scrapping it.
Yeah. The best thing to do.
Because we've got 19,000 increase on neighbourhood plan,
Yeah.
5,000 increase on future projects, and 1.5 on group bins.
Yeah.
I just struggle to see the benefit of it being
Oh,
there.
1,500. Sorry.
Yeah.
I think that shows that we're being prudent.
So ignoring the last vote, because and you might tell me I can't, but I'm all for correcting mistakes at the time rather than 6 months down the line somewhere else. So, notwithstanding the last proposal, the proposal now is to actually remove this heading and the sum attached to it. Is that?
Yes.
Yeah?
I'll be quite happy to support that.
Right, and is that seconded? Right, but before I come to a vote, I know Councillor Plym is thinking.
Yes,
I can see his head.
I would like to say pending advice from the RFO. Because if the RFO suddenly says, no,
No, I know what's coming. Leave it.
because they're not,
Yeah, I think that's very sensible.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's been accepted by Councillor
Yeah.
Wilson and seconded, and all those in favour. Thank you. Thank you, Councillor Plym. Very good point.
I also, sorry, I really quickly, I do just want to say, Michelle's back tomorrow. So, yay. So what I'll do is I'll go through all of this with her, and depending on what she says, if she thinks it would be a good idea for us to have another look at this and she can sit down with us and talk us through it, we can have an extraordinary meeting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just,
Yeah.
that is also an option.
Yeah.
Like we have the time for an extra meeting, it's alright.
Thank you. Toilets.
Is that just an expletive? Or?
Yeah. Well, it's. This
not
could take
in-
us all night just talking
Or
about
not.
toilets or not, couldn't it?
It's not in the current budget
No.
list. Well, well, in a different way, I suppose. It's all in, split down, but not the same way.
And this is talking about these are figures.
It's 110k.
I mean, we've got this later in the agenda anyway, but these are figures based on Devonshire Square, Sidley, Little Common Roundabout, and Channel View East. So it's only these figures are based on those 4 toilets. On the top one, the utilities, 12,000. Then the cleaning, that's pending the decision on what toilets RDC hand over. This is sort of later in the agenda. And then maintenance, 50,000. And that's combined figure for Devonshire Square and including a £36,000 contingency. Devonshire Square has cost us, 42,000.
So, can I suggest, Chair, we can't really talk about those until
No.
we've done
The
Appendix
other
D,
figures, yeah.
because all of those are dependent on what
Yeah.
we recommend.
We'll have a look at appendix. That's pending, and we'll come back to that. And bus shelters, £10,000. What did we have in here before? Nothing. Yes. We had 10,000 before. We've spent 3,000, but it is an ongoing thing, isn't it?
It is ongoing. I walked past this morning, the one outside Town Hall Square, and it was all been stripped back and By the time I walked back later on in the afternoon, liquor paint was going on the top of it and everything. So it was really sort of looking a little bit better.
Good.
And that was halfway through it.
Bear in mind that's the third of the 6 that we've agreed to do out of the 58. Not going to do them all in 1 year, are we? So I think that's an absolute tick box and leave that in there.
Yeah. So I'll propose that stays in there.
Seconded.
By Councillor Wilson. All those in favour? Unanimous. Right, we come back to the toilets.
Yeah.
Additional budget, I'll explain there what it was. Yeah, okay.
Can I talk about 4.2, please? Chair?
4.2.
As it's on Appendix C, which is to discuss future projects that the committee would like to pursue. Been doing some digging around. I really don't understand why the potential surplus sits under the Engagement and Communications Committee.
I was thinking that myself.
It will be an amenity if we do it, and I've investigated where we are with it because I like to know where we completely are. But I would like to propose that the amenities make a bid to move it from, or at least understand why it's in Engagement and Communications Committee as opposed to an amenity. Because I think it's getting lost over a period of time through changes of committee structure, changes of chairs, removal of some committees, and it's just gone
I'm
nowhere.
not sure who we asked that question of, but
Well, I don't either, but I'm just raising it.
that's a fluke.
As Chair of Communications and Engagement, I would second that motion.
Done deal.
Oh, hang on. If he's trying to get rid of it.
Next we'll annex you, Craig.
I think, to be honest with you, it cropped up in a communication but because we haven't got to the point where we actually made a decision
Yes.
as such, it hasn't. Once with decisions made, then it'll be passed over to us.
So that question then from us is going to go to full council, because presumably there's a budget with that would need to come over to our budget.
But I don't believe, Chair, there is any budget for it. It was an idealistic thing that was being investigated.
Okay.
There's a tender document that I found on our site that says that the tender decision will be made by the 30th of September. And there was also a decision by, I think it was Engagement Communications, to put it on hold pending time scale and time to be able to do some more work on it.
Right.
So if we want to do it, someone's got to drive it and kick it on, if that's what we want to do. But
But weren't tenders invited for it?
they,
So you got those returned
they weren't.
and considered.
I've seen some tenders, but I don't know quite where we are.
A process has been followed.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
We don't know the answer yet. But, I mean, having said that, ignoring Councillor Plym, do the other 4 of us want to have it?
Declared an interest.
He's trying to give it away. Do we want it?
Once
It makes sense
it exists,
wherever,
it's an
because when
amenity
it,
like a notice board
when
or
it
anything
exists,
else.
it's ours, and it's nothing to do with communications or engagement.
No.
No, to be honest with you, I wasn't trying to give it away. I was just pointing out the logical path of this it will go.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I
Having
think-
it at all
So we
with
suggest-
communication,
We're
once you
suggesting
decide
that
to
to
have
full
it, it's
council, that
ours.
it
It's an
be
amenity.
moved from engagement to amenities.
I think it also shows that we've listened to members of the public who have asked the question about the surplus as to where we're going.
Yeah.
I've done my bit of showing of
We
listening.
will try and expedite it.
Yeah.
Right. So
If it is possible to do so.
we've almost finished that. We've got to come back to do the public toilets. Agenda item 7, discretionary services. A, to note quotes for pointing of Devonshire Square are being sought. They haven't come in yet, so they're still being sought. B, and I know this is where Councillor Wilson, I think, declared an interest, did you? Or was it on this one?
No,
No, it wasn't. It was
mine was on the grass
Okay. Yeah.
scenario.
So to consider removal of Norman's Bay toilet block graffiti. No. Yeah, ignore the 2 removals. For the cost of £1,500 plus VAT. Councillor Goss.
What are our rangers doing? Part of their thing is graffiti removal. I mean, you go to whichever appendix it is.
Well, depends. To some extent, that's going to depend on the amount of graffiti, because £1,500 plus VAT sounds like there's an awful lot there. But they're not our toilets. They are still Rother District Council toilets.
That's true.
So
Why are we?
Are we being charged to clean Rother District toilets
We're
by
not
Rother
cleaning
District
those ones,
toilets?
are we?
Rother District? We can't be, surely.
We're not cleaning
So
those.
basically, what Councillor Ross was asking, what is the costs? What was 1,500 for?
What, for the graffiti removal?
If our own rangers are doing it,
Well,
presumably,
then
no.
No,
I
our
assume
rate.
not.
So when we sort the quote, our rangers haven't started yet. So that's why the quote is what it is. This
Right.
is from a contractor. This was investigated, I think, in July.
Yeah.
So our rangers weren't in place when we saw this quote. That's just to clarify.
So the logical next step is, can our rangers do the removal of the graffiti at no extra cost? So therefore, we won't consider that then.
Generally, one would consider if this is a commercial contractor, he's probably got 30-40%
Yes.
profit and whatever in it.
If we
So we should be able to do it for £1,000 or less.
So we're going to investigate the town, it being done by the town rangers. Is that
Yeah.
proposed, I think, by Councillor Plym?
Yeah.
Seconded by me, and all those in favour. But I know you're going to say something more, so.
And again, that will be on the understanding that it doesn't have to come back to this committee. If the clerk says,
If
yes,
it's-
the town manager
yeah,
should do
if
it,
it's in
go
place.
ahead and do it.
Delegated authority
Yeah.
to do it.
Because I was just going to check the Normans Bay toilets. I know it's jumping ahead, but again, it's in our agenda. They closed today, and the potential occupier's gone quiet. But we'll come to that later, because there's an awful lot of money been spent on it already, and the £1,500. I'm thinking more like, we're not going to pay £1,500. Rather, you can pay £1,500 because it's your toilet, or you can pull your finger out and get the leases sorted. In which case, we can then investigate, because then they're not our toilets.
Yeah.
Councillor Wilson.
A little bit of context as well for those that weren't at the full council where members of the public from Normans Bay came along. They were very unhappy about being slapped with a massive great big sign saying welcome to Bexhill-on-Sea, and it was a suggestion that I raised as chair that went through unanimously. They asked, could we remove the graffiti, and it was agreed then. So it's all been agreed through full council we're going to do it, so I'm not quite sure why we're having much of a debate over it.
So
all honesty,
can we say?
Normans Bay toilets have always been closed year on year
Yeah.
during winter.
So, bearing in mind this came from full council,
Yeah.
can we say, can the town rangers look at it? Or does that have to come back to full council to say, can the town rangers look
That
at it?
falls to this
Just do
committee.
Right.
The agenda item says in it to consider. We've considered and we're not going to do it. We're not going to pay 1,500 to do it, but we'd rather get the town rangers to do it.
Yeah.
That then becomes an operational issue for the operations manager to arrange
Yeah.
for that to be done.
Right. So, 7C, Appendix D, the toilets.
Deep joy.
Deep joy indeed. I lost it again. Where are we? Here we go.
I didn't decide to be chair of this committee.
Right, so you got the history there about opening seven public toilets, and the comment in the columns are, I think, Rother's comments that they were going to, those top ones were going to be potentially permanently open, and the others are temporary and shutting in the winter. Are you able to say more, or shall I just?
I think you've summed it up really. So the toilets at the top of the list are ones that have always been kept open by RDC during the winter. The others in the table are ones that are typically closed during winter. We've had a look at these toilets and the footfall within these toilets, and we found that there are some toilets that we feel operationally we shouldn't be keeping open and cleaning because the footfall is so little. For example, Norman's Bay, anyway, no one goes in there in winter. Whereas some toilets, namely Sidley toilet, actually has quite a high footfall even towards the colder months. So operationally, we're recommending that we would keep that toilet open during winter. I mean, it says it all in the table, really. It's just for you to consider.
Yeah.
Can I just say, what leapt at me was Channel View East, which I gather has got graffiti in there now,
Oh, it has.
and Norman's Bay, in that the contract cleaning figure for both is over £10,000.
Yeah, I was going to say the same thing.
And what I think that is that's actually clearing up damage. It's not cleaning. It's not what we would see as cleaning a toilet. That's for damage. And if that is for damage, I'd like to see that going forward as a separate heading so that we can inform the public, well, actually the toilets are only costing us X, but repairing them because of damage is costing 2X every year.
Presumably Channel View East, we're maintaining and cleaning. So that's our
We're cleaning that, yeah.
that's our figure, the 11 grand, is it 12 grand?
Yeah, well, this
Yes.
is all what it's cost us. These are our costs, aren't they?
Well, yeah, I suppose so. We're running them all at the moment, aren't we?
Yeah, yeah. So these are all our costs, but those two leapt
Yeah.
at the page, and that's for damage. And Channel View East is still waiting.
I think showing damage in a separate line somewhere so it's visible how much, dear residents, you've been costing yourselves as against how much we've been managing the toilets for you.
Councillor Clem.
Just a couple of questions, because I don't know if you're going to be taking these individually.
Well, the budget wasn't a success, was it?
Well, I probably suggest we should be. Because they are specific.
Go on, start. They'll come around.
A little common roundabout. Potential occupier gone quiet, keep open. Now, if we didn't pay for it to be open, rather would close it. Am I correct?
Mhm.
Okay. Irrespective of whether there's a potential client for this. So we could be keeping it open only for it to be closed down in the future as a tenant moves in to occupy and convert it into something else.
They
It
have to
wouldn't
keep
be-
a toilet.
With one toilet, yeah.
Two.
So reduce the facilities and have a tenant in it for the unitary authority. Yeah. I presume that's what's going to happen because it's not been offered to us.
I don't know. That's one in there.
So
that's a, hang on.
So as much as I'd like the idea that we're keeping it open for the public, we've got to make it really clear that we're keeping it open, but whether it opens and closes and converts into something else is beyond our control.
Yeah, well, you know my view, because I think this council should take that one, because it's got a bus shelter in the middle of it as well.
We should take it, but we're not being given it.
I know. Councillor Wilson.
So we have to be really clear. The decision we made back in March was to pay for the cleaning for a 6-month period. And they were being marketed, everyone knew that, and some have been chosen to run other businesses. Those other businesses have then got to apply for planning permission to get a change of use. So where it says on here, market offer estimate to complete February 26, yes, the offer might be complete, but they've then got to apply for planning permission, so it won't be until probably August 2027 at the earliest, probably by the time that business is in there and there's a toilet up and running. So whatever we decide, we're not just deciding now, it's almost forever until either that potential business moves away and it isn't a potential business, and then the decision is decided that we would just take the toilets. So this is a much bigger thing than the amenities committee long term, and I'm not comfortable at deciding this, I'm afraid.
I share Councillor Wilson's sentiments on this, because we've got huge expectations for the toilets. Unfortunately, Rother District Council hasn't aligned with our thoughts on this, and so we could be raising the expectations of our population to have toilets readily available and to a certain standard, only to find out that beyond our control they're taken away, closed down for a while they're converted into something else, and that expectation of the toilets, as Councillor Drayson pointed out, because it's a bus terminus point for the buses that will come round about, we will be raising the expectations of the people that are there. They'll be used to a service, and then it'll be taken away from them.
Yeah.
It's not a very nice situation to be in at all.
So it's a bad situation, whichever
for
way
the
you look at
public
it.
or for us as a town council.
So just looking back at the agenda, so it was to receive this and to consider which public conveyances will remain open during the week to season. Is that what you want?
Maybe we can do this then.
So some of these, so in the column already, keep open is the Rother District Council decision that they're keeping those open. Yeah.
That's what they did do. Yeah. So they previously kept.
They kept Little Common and Channel View. We've asked them to keep open Sidley, and all the others closed today.
This will be us keeping them open. So we're not asking RDC to keep them open. This will be us keeping them open and us cleaning them for the winter season.
Without
RDC letting us keep them open.
Yeah, and that's one of the reasons why the licences that they proposed were so vague, was to see if we wanted to do this over the winter months as well.
So basically we spent 45,000 keeping 7 open. If we drop down to just the 3 that have been noted, we're going to be into 15, or around about 20k for the rest of the year.
For the rest of the season. Yeah.
And we've got a 54k budget left.
Yeah.
So is there a problem with keeping, if they're the popular ones, if toilets can be popular, we're well within budget if we keep those open?
Bearing in mind what Councillor Cross has pointed out there, that we're well within budget, I would like to point out that the East Parade toilets are said to close on the 1st of October, and I would like them to stay open, because on that side of the town they are used quite considerably by tradesmen on a regular basis there. One of the trades is postal delivery workers, and we use those toilets, and it will declare an interest here. It would harm our well-being if those toilets were closed.
Oh, there's any other things.
The old troubles come
It's
back.
right by the beach.
Never gone away.
With for disabled and the rest of it, and it's got a radar key toilet and that there.
Can I just clarify, is it, where it says to close the 1st of October, is that because we only agreed to pay to clean them up to the 30th, or is that Rother have always closed them on the 1st of October?
That was when our contract ended.
So it's not that Rother have always closed them?
Never closed them.
No. So I don't know why we're even considering closing East and West Parade.
No.
They should remain open.
Correct.
That's the bit I was going to go to next.
Sorry, it's becoming very clear in my very muddled mind that Manor Barn, Norman's Bay, those should be closed. The rest, I think we
If
have
Manor
to...
Barn was in a condition to be opened,
different.
It should be open.
it should be opened.
And I've never understood Coodensea Road. I'm sorry, but
No,
I'm not sure who
that
uses
one should be
I'm not even sure
left.
what they're there. But so, the proposal from Councillor Wilson,
2.
presumably seconded by Councillor Prim, because they both said it at the same time, is that we would like East Parade and West Parade to remain open
Yes.
during the winter months.
Yes.
Yep.
That's going to cost about 11,000 for
Yeah.
toilets down the seafront.
Yeah.
And bearing in mind, I was bluntly asked a question about toilets on Saturday and did say, which was true, no, they're open.
They were till today.
Yeah, I know.
So all those in favour, please.
can I-
Oh, sorry, Councillor Goss.
Sorry, little comment. We're coming into the football season.
Yeah.
Are there alternative facilities there in?
Yeah, in the
James.
clubhouse. Yeah, in the clubhouse and things. In fact,
Only during the football match when the
Yeah.
club's open.
yeah.
But when you're in the park with your children, those toilets are going to be closed.
And dog
There's a
walkers.
lot
Yeah.
of woods.
There's a lot of dog walkers going on.
I would like to keep those ones open as well. It will push our budget over slightly, I believe.
It's only another few thousand, and
There should be
It's
a
still
economy
within
of
the
scale
budget,
as
It's
we
still
had.
fit within the
Or-
It's still within the budget.
Yeah.
Can we?
So East
I
Parade.
keep them all open, bar 3, which is Sea Road, Norman's Bay and Manor Bar. Keep the rest open.
Yep.
Yes.
Well, that's it. That's the same as saying East Parade, West Parade, and Little Common
No, but-
Recreation Ground.
Just close. You only mentioned 3 closures of Lesbos Road.
So those in favour of keeping East Parade, West Parade, and Little Common Recreation Ground toilets open, please show.
Answer.
Because that was amended, wasn't it? Thank you.
Can I just make the remark that I don't think potential occupier gone quiet is an adequate reply from RDC. It should be being pursued, or there should be a cut-off date after which it's the interest is
That's.
seen to be no longer
I'm
whatever.
going to say that's their problem because it's 8:30.
Yeah.
So
I
there is a
just-
leaders' meeting on Friday. I could mention that. Should it be the wish of this committee?
Yeah, I really don't think gone quiet is adequate.
Maybe I'll mention
They've
it.
either withdrawn.
They expect us to give chapter and verse on everything.
It worries me that they've spent all that money in doing that and they're not chasing up it.
Right, agenda
Exactly.
item 8A, community safety matters. To note that we've not yet started a review of the CCTV, as
Which we've
Mark
talked
referred
about,
to
yeah.
earlier. It should have been September, but annual leave put paid to that. Town Accessibility Working Group. To note, Councillor Braygrove has resigned from this group. Now, for some reason, I know it was a good reason at the time, we gave the appointment to the council to sort out. Do we do that again, or do we appoint, or do we say go back to the council to have a wider range of people to pick from?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Councillor Wilson.
Yes, I agree. It's very bizarre that the Town Accessibility Working Group doesn't have anyone from the committee that it sits under on it. Could it be,
Well, I was thinking
if the circular is moving from one to t'other, the Accessibility Working Group is communicating with a lot of residents and it's moved into communication and engagement. Just saying, it doesn't really fit anywhere. We don't have any members from it.
Yeah, I can see where that's going for ongoing communication.
Yeah. And
But the minute they come up with a project,
Yeah, the things they're doing become amenities.
yeah. So that's probably why it's still in here,
I was thinking
because
about
they've got a
it.
budget for projects.
I
they
promise I'll put my name forward at full council.
We can put your name forward now. It's under this committee.
Yeah, but in the last time we put it.
Only because there was no one on this committee.
Yeah,
we
no
went,
one at this
we went
committee.
Well, I'm quite prepared to go on to the Town Accessibility Working Group.
We're all second that.
Yeah, you go.
Yes.
Okay,
26
I'm on
seconds.
that then.
You're on.
Only 4 people voted
Yep.
for it. Don't count the 2 that aren't here. Right, 10 bus shelters. To note, Enwell Road bus shelter opposite Blueberries is in flow.
Mm-hmm.
We've just heard that they've started the refurbishment at Town Hall Square, and it sounds like it's going really well. And then C, I don't understand. To note exact location for bus shelter being located.
Yeah, so we
Install
were
that
asked to
device.
investigate through a piece of correspondence installing a bus shelter in Pebsham Lane.
But there's about
That's
3 bus
this-
stops.
That's as far in terms of detail as the request went, so we don't actually know as of yet
Good.
where they would like it to
Because
go.
there is one, and then there's 3 stops on the other side of the road for the whole length of Pebsham.
So we're just waiting to clarify
Right,
where they were looking
Thank you.
for.
Councillor Cox.
So you're asking them?
Yes.
Okay. I
Yes.
was going to say, nowhere when I looked at it looked ideal because you're in front of somebody's window or driveway.
Yeah,
or
I
whatever.
wanted to clarify because I didn't want to put a bus shelter in and then be like, that's not even the place I asked for. So I didn't want to move without
Right,
making
good.
sure.
Can I ask what permissions we have to get? Because the bus shelter goes on the footpath, which is
East Sussex.
East Sussex,
It's got to be traffic, got to be highways.
or is it highways?
Well, it'd be highways, and
I
I'd
think
like
it's
to
highway-
think we'd
highways.
ask Stagecoach.
You think so? Where
'Cause
they would prefer
they
it
might
to
not want a bus stop.
be. They might not.
Bus shelter.
The questions will be asked.
Thank you.
In hand.
Agenda item 11, highway matters. To note, the motion carried by full council, installation of rubber curb mats, noted. And to note, no alternative locations for the Normans Bay welcome sign other than the spare room in the hub has been located.
Yeah, yeah.
Very
So-
interesting having a meeting with this sign.
Glaring at us.
What was really interesting was a Zoom meeting that we had in there, and I'm sitting there. It was
Right,
great advertising.
12, this is the one. To note, the town rangers are in place and upcoming projects are being discussed. So that's noted. And then B is to receive the update report. Now, it's not strictly an update report. It's more the founding concept of them, which...
Yes.
So it's not really for us to... Because like, I don't agree with the term accountability. That seems the wrong title, but that's not for us. It's a concept of why we're having the Rangers and a very general of what they're going to do. And we've already decided tonight some of the things we want them to do specifically.
And it's all very operational.
Yeah. I was asking you, what are the property leads that they're working with?
I think that's looking into the future, that there will eventually be, we'll own some other things, yeah.
Oh, right. It's
It's-
to perform various maintenance. I mean, and speed indicator notices. What are they? I mean, road signs that give you a speed indicator of East Sussex.
The ones with the smiley faces, aren't they? That you're doing the right speed.
Oh,
Where's that?
the mobile one, 10. Sorry, 10.
10, sorry.
I thought it was the ones that lit up and said, this is if you go past it at more than, it reminds you what the speed limit is.
Do we have any of those?
They're not
Yeah,
overly
they're not-
popular.
Yeah.
I think these are all job descriptions that they can
Yes.
fulfil.
Yeah.
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 That
It's,
should
the,
we need
it's
them.
the
That we can
concept.
lumber them with later.
It's the concept.
13 grip bins. To note that grip
So-
bin.
Sorry,
Sorry.
could I ask,
Yes.
will we be getting... this only meets every 2 months?
Yeah. So December, we'd like to know.
We don't have to necessarily meet to receive a report. I wouldn't necessarily want to see
No.
wait 2 months for a report. Is it possible? I'd like to think the operations manager operationally would have some control over what they're doing to
let
have
us
a
know.
draft
Well,
of
let all the
like-
councillors.
yeah, just because I'll keep going on about money. The 100 and something thousand we put into this is a massive payment, and we are being scrutinised, if you like. We should know what they're doing,
Well-
not to question it at
No,
all,
no.
because it's an operational. But this is what we've done.
Well, bear in mind, we're
It's not
asking
shouting.
Bexhill Bloom to ask us what they've done with their 5,000. It's only right that we know what's been done with that 100.
And we should not be in a position of being critical of an operational report of what's been done, but we should
No.
have vision of.
We should see it.
We should know
And
what's being
I
done.
also I feel the things that they will be doing should be advertised
They should.
everywhere. So
Let's
I
shout
think it is
about
only
it.
fair that you
Yeah.
do receive
Yeah.
updates. So
Yeah.
happy to do that.
Okay, look forward to that.
14, renewal of bridge roundabout way. To note, motion carried by full council to investigate renewal So that's just noting.
Yeah,
Presumably,
it's happening.
yeah.
Yeah.
Right, 15. To consider the request to reinstate Climate, Nature and Environment Committee. 20 minutes to go.
It's all gone a bit quiet.
I haven't got that document.
Was that
I haven't got the letters.
come
Yes.
under, I mean, as a separate committee, would that be for full council to decide if they wanted one?
Yes, so you would be making a recommendation to full council if you resolved. So you would be resolving to recommend that full council reinstates the Climate, Nature and Environment Committee to full council.
Councillor Flynn.
I'd like to recommend that we do not reconsider reinstating the Climate, Nature and Environment Committee. This committee has got sufficient powers in order to deal with any requests via the Bexhill Wild Doomsday Project. It sits within this committee, and so therefore if anybody from that group wants to contact us, they do so via this committee. There's no need to have another committee.
I will second that, but with the comment that we got rid of the committee because we had too many committees, and Climate, Nature and Environment should be covered by every committee in its actions and the full council. I don't think there's a need for a specific committee. Councillor Wilson.
I completely agree with Councillor Pym. We are strong, we are powerful, we have the ability to look after the environment here. Let's not forget that the Climate Action Plan that was built by the first administration reports straight into full council. So if anything did happen, another councillor could raise it at full council by doing a motion under the Climate Action Plan. But this committee is more than good enough to deal with this, and I was disappointed that David Dennis didn't mention Climate, Nature and Environment Committee. He just decided to call it an Environment Committee. It was more than that.
Councillor Byrne.
I think it's really necessary for the public to see that we have got dedicated resources looking at climate and the environment, climate, nature and the environment. But I take your point that this committee has the capacity and the right remit to consider all those issues. So I wonder if we should be the Amenities and Environment Committee. I think it's very important for that word environment. There are many of our residents really want to see that word in there, and they won't just to say, but we're doing it, read the small print. I don't think will cut it. I'd like to see it front and centre.
I suggest you raise that at the AGM as a motion.
Yes.
Okay.
I was going to say that's a
So
really
it-
good thought, but I can't give you an answer tonight. But yeah.
Okay.
Councillor Wilson.
Meanwhile,
to do it.
between now and then, we could make a decision to have a standing item on our agenda for every amenities, and call it climate or whatever we want to call it.
Yeah.
So it's
I
Good.
suspect it might be vacant quite a lot of
it might be,
yeah.
but it's still there, and it
Yeah.
enables all of us to raise stuff under
And we
that
can
agenda
point to it
item.
if anyone inquires.
Yeah.
So
So
we've got
it's got a point, but to create a whole new committee and the costs associated with having a reinstated committee, I can't support. But maybe we should just have a standing item and leave it to the AGM.
Councillor Pym.
Yeah, we could quite easily just standing item climate, nature and environment.
Yeah. So
We used to actually.
Yeah.
I think when this became the Amenities Committee, we did have an item called
There we
that.
go.
okay, so proposed by Councillor Plym that we do not reinstate the climate committee, seconded by me. Should we add on a standing item on this agenda? Yeah.
If the proposer's happy to accept that.
Yes,
As
well, he was nodding.
Yes,
and the seconder's happy to second that. So all those in favour,
Well, I'm
please
happy.
show. Thank you. That's unanimous.
It's 'cause I don't understand.
Motions from councillors, there are none. Correspondence, there is none. Questions from councillors,
I'm
last
happy with
time.
the answers.
The answers are there. Councillor Byrne asked the same long question twice in a different format. To receive questions and future agenda items.
go through
No,
the process.
right, that was a long enough pause. The date of the next meeting, I said the 5th, but it's the 3rd. 3rd of December 2025. All motions for the next meeting, the Amenities Committee must be received by the 24th of November. Thank you very much. It is 8:44 and the meeting's closed. Thank you.
Thanks, Chair.